this week's episode, we're not doing any driving. What we are going to be doing is having a look at a product that I've recently received. It's called Diamond Lube, and it's obviously for your engine. They've done a lot with GTRs, a lot of big brake horsepower GTRs as well, and it's supposed to really help the internal workings of these cars and any other car. It stops rattles, it stops squeaks, and it just helps the car run a lot better. They've recently used this product on a GTR, put it on a dyno, and according to the dyno, they got an extra 5 brake horsepower from it, which is pretty good. But the main thing for me is the protection of the internal workings of these cars. This unique material, the nano diamond within this product, works by sticking essentially to the steel works, the metal works within inside the engine. And what that does is it creates a protective layer. The best way to describe it is like a magnet. So these are attracted to the metal workings inside the car. So once they are attached to the inner lining, then obviously no more nano diamond will attach to that, and they will then spread to the rest of the engine. But what it does, it prevents metal on metal abrasion, which is how they do decrease the clunking and ticking sounds of cars. That prevents erosion and corrosion within inside your engine workings, which should hopefully mean prolonged life. It also allows turbochargers to spool up faster, which is why they've done a lot of their testing on GTRs. So that'll be really interesting to see whether it does have a noticeable difference. They have sent a package of 4 bottles, which I will go through what each one does, but in terms of price, it costs $1,600. So converted into pounds, I think it's probably just over £1,000. I don't know what the exchange rate is at the moment. I'm going to go through each of these bottles, read the instructions, see how it works, and then I'm going to start adding it to the engine. Okay, so they've sent me 4 different bottles. Each one is labelled slightly differently, but to show you how big or small these are, there you go. That's 2 of the larger bottles. This one is for the differential. This one is for the transmission. This one is for the engine. And then this one goes directly into the fuel system, so through the petrol cap. What I'm going to do is I'm going to record the sounds coming from this car, so that we've got a clip of what it sounds like before and what it sounds like after, and see if we can hear a noticeable difference. So this is engine running without any of the lubrication added. Let's have a listen to how many clicks and whatnot are going on at the moment. So this is the engine lube. So what it says is to do a capful. And this needs to go into the petrol. Let's hope I don't chuck the cap down there. Okay. Right. Obviously that would take some time to actually get into the fuel system. And then the rest of it, it says to put into the engine oil. First bottle going in. This has been shaken for 30 seconds to make sure all of the nano diamonds are off from the, well, mixed. Okay, now we are moving on to the transmission lubricant. So what it says for this one is to first obviously shake it, which I think I have done already, but just in case. And then once you've done that, then we need to remove the seal. But then what I need to do is add it to a capful to the power steering fluid, which is here, and then after that add the remainder of the bottle to the transmission fluid. So we add that into the power steering fluid. We've added a capful of the transmission fluid to the power steering fluid, but the problem is to get to the transmission fluid, the filler cap, it's actually under the car, so I'm not going to be able to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to this until my next service, at which point I'll just ask them to put it in. And the other one is the differential, which again is under the car, so I can't actually get to it, but holding on to it until I have my next service. Even with the engine fluid added, and I'm about to add the fuel fluid, that alone should reduce a lot of the noise anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how much it reduces the noise even without adding those two. So the last one is the fuel, which pretty simple. Just add it to the fuel like we have done with the cap full. So, yeah. Engine's been running for a little bit now. Let's compare this noise to the noise before I added the fuel, power steering and the engine oil lubricant. Obviously we haven't put the transmission or the differential lubricant in because I can't get to it, but even without that I still think it sounds a lot smoother. Let's listen. As you could have probably heard from the two clips that I just played to you, without adding the transmission and differential, which I can't at the moment because I don't have the access to a car lift, there has been a good reduction in that noise, and I'm really pleased with that. This isn't even mentioning the protection that it's given this car. All of the internal workings are going to be coated in these tiny nano diamonds, giving this protective layer. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I would imagine as time goes on, it will get even quieter because at the moment it's only been running for about 10 minutes. So the likelihood is the longer this runs for, the more chance the nano diamonds have to cover the rest of the internal working. So great, good stuff. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I know it's certainly not as adrenaline filled as some of my others have been, but nonetheless, I wanted to share this with you. I think it's a great product and I wanted you guys to see it as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and thanks very much for watching.